I'm in the middle of so many projects. I really want to start a new one, except for I keep putting it off, so maybe I don't. So I am back with the early 60s Peugeot px-10. We overhauled the headset. I had some 27 1.25 single speed wheels I got out. I got some barely used Painter's Paselas for it, but it's real tight in the front, like a race bike. Not much more room in the back. We overhauled the old French bottom bracket, and I switched out the strong light cranks for these Navars, which I flipped an old single speed ring onto. I was thinking about using them, but put the original strong light cranks up on eBay. They're a little old, they're a little rare. They're not that rare. There's a zillion guys selling them. No one bought mine. I didn't even have them listed for very much. And then somebody had a couple of these 122 42 tooth old rings, including the right strong light ring and another Navar ring like this. And I talked them down to it was like 20 bucks with shipping, 26 bucks with shipping for both rings. Kind of considering putting the original strong lights back on because it'd be way sexier. Still think I need to find some 700C wheels. I got another set of these Paselas in mint condition in 28s. Maybe 728s, and then that let me use some old beat up hammered fenders. Hopefully I'll find a swap meet. Old French ones would be cool, but it's hard, so some VOs or some Honjos would be cool too. I saw some at this last swap meet, the Halloween one that CCC did, but the guy didn't really understand swap meets. He wanted over $100 for them. I'm like, they're worth less than wholesale, not more than retail. Hit a couple other parts too. He's like, oh, $80 for those. I'm like, I'll give you $5 for those. Like, okay. I don't think he sold anything he left early enough. I can ride it with these tires, with these wheels and tires, but I want some smaller ones. I did also order these on eBay. They're like a brake stiffener. They bolt on here, so I have to replace these bolts, which is going to suck because I really like the old Mayfac little flat nutted bolts, which is pretty. I can probably use some Renee Hurst ones. I wish I wouldn't give them all back to Compass when I close my shop. Or find some other weird Canty Boss bolts or maybe some tie hardware. Getting too nerdy, so I don't even know if I'll use them. We'll see. But another thing I didn't really like is I put these modern Tektro levers on, like the old French levers, but this is too much modern. I want to go back to the stock cranks. I want some French levers. I want some old wheels. I got a little U08 mixed-D with this thing. Took a couple parts off. I took the levers off, but the mixed-D had an oversized bar, so the levers will not work. Drag and a half. But I also found some other levers in the French stuff at the cycling center. Sunday salvage sales, and I think, oh yes, look at that. Too small, they're already tightened down. So I think these are 22 too. They're not outrageously too big. They're 22 too. Flat bar. Well, it's a little awkward for a flat bar. At least these guys are straight. Probably be better for a bar with a little bit of bend. What do you guys think? Is that awkward? Do I care? Not really. It's cooler, it's older, it's Frencher. It says Mayfac right on them. I'm going to use them. That'll make me happy. I got these, I think Portland Design Works old leather whiskey grips. They're in rough, kind of worn out shape. I think it'll match the rest of the roughness and worn outness on this bike. So the only thing I really needed was brake pads. I was trying to order them through the shop. You don't only get them from places we didn't need anything else from. There's no money, blah, blah, blah. Be too expensive, blah, blah, blah. Looked on eBay, they're outrageously expensive, so I checked Amazon. And Cool Stop deals directly with Amazon. I ordered these Cool Stop Vintage. Ooh. Ordered these Friday night at 8. They showed up today, Saturday at noon, from the mailman. So they went from Cool Stop to Amazon to the post office to my front box. In 14 hours overnight. So ridiculous. So these are the 4-dot Mayfac replacement pads made here in Portland in Lake Oswego by Cool Stop. And they will press these old pads out, press these new ones in. They're more waterproofy, they're more anti-squeal. They're dope. They were $27. It's a little painful. I wanted them in black too, but like no one had them in black for some reason. Keep them more traditional, so I went whatever. Oh god, now I want vintagey housing. Shoot me in the fucking face. I want vintagey housing for the other one too. I used to have all these vintagey housing kits with the texture from like Grand Boys in Japan. Maybe I'll go on Japanese Grand Boys' website in Japan and order them and pay way too much money plus way too much shipping from Japan. Or maybe I'll just use some stuff I have. This has little black accents everywhere. Some black housing would look just fine. God, I really could just use this ring on the other cranks too. What a fool am I. I was going to say I can just do this whole bike right now. That's not exactly true. Because I don't have the other chain rings. But I can definitely switch out the levers and get the brakes set up. And, I mean, it's going to be the same size ring. I could get the chain set up, throw some pedals on, I could test ride this dude. No problemos. So we can basically this bike built and then swap out the cranks later if we want. So maybe that's what we'll do. So far we've overhauled the headset, overhauled the bottom bracket, and taken everything off and cleaned it, inspected it, pressed these slightly later 80s Navarre cranks on, and that's it. Okay, so we're going to swap these old, dead, hard 60-year-old pads out. What I usually do is do this kind of the hard way. Clamp the pad rubber in the vise and then slide it off. Sometimes it's really hard. I use a rag on my hand or get a tool on it or something. That one slid right off. One. Ooh. Come on. Two. Now you also have to be careful, these old things, they're just swaged in there. So it's like they put it in and then just like mashed in like a rivet. So these things can get loose and they'll cause your brakes to squeal and you'll never get that squeal out. Nice thing about Mayfacs is there's a billion of them floating around, so there's always spare parts. Three. So they're all broken. Don't try and use a shitty one. Don't glue it. Go ahead and find another one or go to renehurst.com. And he has very fancy machined new ones from Japan that are very nice and very expensive. But they're very nice, very stiff, they won't squeal. I have them on my rando bike. I started converting everything to them, but not this time. Got some chain lube just in case. And pop these new Mayfac pads in. They're usually quite tight and do not want to go in. Okay, old 1960s pad holder. Usually I have to, the reason why we're in this room with the vise, because usually I have to pinch them in. I put the front lip of the brake holder on one side of the vise and the pad on the other side and squeeze them in. But these horrifically slide right in. Don't put your brake pads on backwards. First time you grab the brakes, they will shoot right out. See if any of them are tight. Okay, this one's a little tight, but it still presses in just by hand. No big deal. I'm going to show you how to do it in case you get one that's super tight. What I usually do is try and start it. Just even a little bit. It's real hard. Got the pad on this side, the front lip down on the other side. Just gently push and guide and press it in. If it's real tight, sometimes I'll take a little tiny bit of chain lube. Just drop a little bit right on like the top and the sides. Just a tiny bit. You want it to lube the pad where it slides in. You do not want to get on the braking surface. I'll lift it up and give it one last little push. I've never ever in my life had Mayfac pads this easy. They're usually always a huge fight. They need lube in the vise. Oh, and in we go. Let's hope they don't explode the first time I'm braking. Luckily, we'll have them pinching against the rim, so hopefully they won't. And I got this little workbench in a free pile, like a block from here. One day I was riding or walking the dog and rolled back there with my truck. I've been using it to start placing my stickers on stuff. So this Cool Stop sticker should be no different. Have something to stick bike stickers on. Put them all over my work stand. The old shop, we had a beer fridge. We covered it in all the cool stickers. I gave it away when I closed the shop. Cool. Stop. This is like a Harbor Freight stand and table. It's like real flimsy, but it's working. It's got some drawers. Got some stuff in it. Organizing things. Place to put things while organizing them. Got the little bins out. I'm organizing those. Spacers. Used M6. New M6. New M5. You know, bolts, nuts, specialty hardware, crank bolts. Like, get this thing organized. Ba-ding. All right, a few days have gone by. January I ordered online came in finally. It's like 3 days late. The brake stiffeners ordered, they came in too. I'm going to show those off. The little brake stiffeners, they came in too, which I may or may not use. They're kind of super dope, kind of super weird. I don't know. I'm also quasi-considering getting those little Mayfac racks. I happen to know someone that I kind of work for who might have a stash. I also stole the basket, the little cute basket, off of the little U8 Mixty. And this would be kind of adorable. I might run it for a second just for fun. Then, you know, we can always see. Chain's got a tight link. Well, it's got a real tight link. I did a couple other things since the video. I don't actually remember where I left off. Did we show off putting the Mayfac levers on and doing the cables? Brake pads are in. I did all that stuff. Decided I was going to not use these cranks and go with the original ones. And I just slapped on a 16-tooth fixed gear cog and lock ring I had sitting around. It's got a real beater 17-tooth freewheel. 16's a little small for a 42 for me. That would have been great 10 or 15 years ago. Now I'm kind of a wimp. But I think I've done 42 17 before, and it's like crazy too easy, especially if any even remote downhills at all. So we'll see. So the fixed gear cog is on. We sized the chain last time because this is a 42 and the new one we're using is a 42. Bangarang, I got the new one. Ironically, I had one of these exact rings and I sold it recently, but I didn't pay any more for this one than I sold the other one for, plus I got a second one for free. So that's cool. I found only single speed chain ring bolts I liked for this. These black ones I found, but also gives a little bitty of a modern-y look, but still being kind of vintage. I found some just generic crank bolts. These come with like Shimano bottom brackets and stuff like that. It looks like they'll fit, and the dust cap will be able to thread pretty much all the way on. So that will be cool. Oh, these do say they're French threaded, 14 by 125. I thought these were English for some reason. That's good because I have like 3 or 4 sets of French pedals I want to use. I didn't think they'd work. But now I think I can try them. I think there's a good chance 1 or 2 of them might work. Because these ones are English. So we're going to swap out this Navarre crank, pop on this more cool one. What do we think this was? A 63 or something? Much more gorgeous crank, much more original. Pop the back wheel back in. Size the seat post and angle the saddle. And then this thing will be ready for double checks, really double checking the headset, and test rides. And I'm fairly excited about the build. I want to stick some, see if I can find some undersized wine corks to sit in here to kind of keep it old looking. But yeah, this is basically done. So we cabled and housing it and sized it the last time. So let's see if there's anything fun to do. See if this bottom bracket will work with the other cranks. And I decided not to use these 8mm modern-y crank bolts. I was trying to tie it together a little neo-retro. It's kind of got a wide-ass handlebar. It was just getting a little too modern and a little not retro enough. The old French pedals and the old original cranks and dust caps That's gonna bring it back pretty retro, I think. This is gonna give us a chance to use the old eBay special strong light crank puller again. So far I've been very happy with this tool. Very inexpensive, very effective. Unless these aren't special. Oh, it's a Navarre, it's not strong light. I don't think it is that size. I think maybe it's regular English. I believe so. Was overhauling a bunch of hubs earlier today, including for the Trek 520 build we're doing next, even though I want to do like so much other stuff. And those old 1960 Campy hubs, which were odd sized a little bit. I think on just the front hub. Maybe the rear lock nut, definitely the front lock nut, definitely the front cones. Everything was odd about them. Front ball bearings are oversized. I don't have them, I have to order them. Leverage. Pushing down is always better than pushing up. They have both hands so you can push. And these Navarre cranks go back on eBay. People ask me over and over and over again if they're real track cranks. And they clearly show photos of the back. You can see the lip. And they never made a track crank, as far as I know. Ask me over and over and over again, and they can try and lowball me over and over and over again, even though I have them down for a very good price. And I'm going to say no. Nope. One thing I want to take notice of is the jut. See how far the crank is sticking off basically the cup face. So the non-drive side is 2 or 3 millimeters shorter, not a lot, but a little. And that is a trick for single speed. Sometimes if you want the chain line to be better, you can flip that bottom bracket spindle in your loose cup bottom bracket, flip it over, put the shorter side on the drive side so the whole crank and chain ring will come in a couple millimeters. Since I'm running on the outside, there's a very good chance we'll be doing that. So who doesn't want to pull apart a bottom bracket we just overhauled? Boy, that is a mile away. Just a mile. Say about 44, 45 is the max. Kind of guesstimate where the center of this tube is. Oh, really? This is only 46 or 47. I got this set to, okay, I'm going to set it right to 45. 43 is really about right. It's right there. This is going to push in to be 43, 44. Unless I'm measuring something wrong or doing something wrong, I don't think we will need to flip that spindle. Huh. Guns clearance on both sides. The other side is a little bit tighter, but I don't know. Like, for real, man? I don't know. I don't trust that. I want a second opinion. God, this hair is sticking to my face, right in my eyes all day. That's a better angle. Like, eyeball the center of that tube. Yeah, really, like just a couple millimeters. And I could flip it. It might make it better, but this is probably going to be good enough. Like, wild, man. 5-speed stuff's just narrow. And really has room to go in a few more. Just realized I wasn't recording for like a while. I'm trying out some of the French pedals I got. And just realized, even though these look very Frenchies, the two sets I want to use are both stamped right and left. The French didn't stamp stuff right and left. I don't think these are French. I think they're English. And to test that theory, the one's not stamped right and left, which is the least cool pedals. They're all road pedals. They got a big bump, which I hate and stabs me in the foot. They got a bump on this side to keep your foot from going too far, which is also stupid. And they're one-sided. These guys threaded in easy peasy, where those ones pretended like they sure didn't want to, because I think they're probably English. And of course, the road pedals also are both missing the dust caps. Maybe I can steal the dust caps This one's missing one, but I do have the old 50s leotards. Maybe I can steal a dust cap off these old 50s leotards and thread them on. Maybe they didn't change. From the 50s to the 60s. These have an alloy cage, which is lighter. I guess that's cool. I want to clean them up, switch all the hardware over, try the dust caps out, and modify them. At a minimum, I'm going to take a file a couple of millimeters off the top of this, and maybe take the file and sort of match these little teeth, and definitely knock off this big tooth. I need as much pedal as I can get. Or I can keep an eye out for nicer, not worn out French pedals. Because that's just a thing that falls right in your lap. Or, hear me out, I can tap these cranks out to English. French and English pedal threads are very, very similar. That's why it's hard to tell if something's English or French threaded, because they'll kind of go in and start, but they won't really go in very far. You can just take English taps and force them through, and it's really easy. Lots of cutting oil, be very careful. Force them through and tap anything out to English. But these cranks are also very specifically stamped French. So I might bone the next guy, because it looks very French and it's not French. But I want to use these old metal caged double-sided touring leotards. They have the dust caps. They feel fine-ish. But they're English. Left and right's a dead giveaway. The French label, there's, I remember I was reading it on Sheldon Browning labeled them G and H or something for whatever the French word is for left and right. Or maybe I can cross my fingers and hope there's a nice set of French pedals at Sunday salvage sales. It's always a possibility. I can modify these pedals, man. Modifying stuff is cool. It's more work, but it's cool. Oh, I thought I'd finish this video today with the original cranks and dust caps back on, black single speed rings, fixie cog, wheel flipped over. I guess I'd have to modify these pedals if I want to finish this video today. Maybe we'll do it, because we can always change it down the line later if we come across some good Frenchy pedals for cheaps. Thanks for watching, in case there's a third video.